Hi guys, well this is the latest blaster I've finished. I literally finished it today. All the bits were made up, except I wanted to mould the scope, barrel end detail with the heat sink and the side plates. I wanted to get them all moulded up, so I want to do a little resin run of this DL-18, the skiff guard blaster from Return of the Jedi. This is based on an original RO72 air pistol, same as what was used in the film. Actually had one of these when I was a kid. I remember shooting it in the back garden, and yeah, it was a decent little air pistol. Cheap at the time, but now they're getting quite hard to find. But yeah, it's still fully functional. Break barrel, I won't cock it. But yeah, that's all fully functional still. All the other greeblies are made from scratch out of aluminium. Scope, that probably took me the longest. I think, yeah, no, that took me the longest. That's all aluminium, and the lens I turned out of acrylic on the lathe. I believe on the original prop it was some sort of knob off an old vintage radio. Couldn't find them, so I thought I'd make one up as close as I possibly can. Front detail, don't know if you can see it, but you just about see it. There's a 3mm ball bearing. This is all slotted. And I've just, there you go, I've just literally just pressure fitted in the end. The barrel detail with the heat sink, this is the original sight. Obviously that was up the top. Just turned it round 180 degrees, and I turned up this heat sink on the lathe out of aluminium, and all those flutes did by hand with just a needle file. But I'm debating about whether to paint it or not, because I quite like the bare aluminium look. I think in the film it was greyish. I believe they originally used a permanent marker pen lid, but I don't think it's actually ever been identified what the correct one is, so I just tried to get it as close as I possibly could. Side plates, aluminium again. The only resin parts on it are the Revel visible V8 motor coil greeblies. Had an original one, so I moulded those up and cast a couple to go on here. The rest of the plate's all aluminium. Torpedo tube, or torpedo missile, whatever you want to call it. Turned that on the lathe and then slice it straight down the middle, so I've got it for both sides. Got the dome to the right circumference, I think it's about the right diameter, as in the curve. I think I have anyway. But yeah, this is, well, I mean, it's one of my favourite blasters, and probably one of the most accurate ones I've got, even though it hasn't got original found parts on it. But I do like it. It's got a nice feel to it. Still debating about whether to knock the paint back and have some of the aluminium showing through, giving it more weathered look. But the more I take it in and out of my display case, it will get knocked about anyway. I didn't put any primer on for that specific reason, just so paint can get chipped off. But like I said, I've moulded most of the parts up for this, as I want to try and get a little run of resin blasters, kits and finished ones. one more bit I have got to mould is this threaded section. That was for a skeleton stock for the air pistols. When I was a kid, I never actually had one of those, unfortunately, so it made a nice little carbine. That's the only thing I've got left to mould. That's quite a simple one. But apart from that, I've moulded up. Well, I've cast these, the barrel detail, even, I don't know if you can see it in there. No, you can't quite see. I'll have to get better at making videos. But they come out quite nicely. It's only the minimal amount of flashing on there. Spigot is just where I poured it, so just slice it off and that's all good. But I've just knocked up a few of those already. A little bit of flashing. That'll soon come off quite easily. But that's really got the detail. So that's those, and any leftover resin. Just been making up some of the side plates. It was an open mould, so the back isn't perfectly flat, but a little bit of sand in, and they'll be as good as gold. There's one with the motor coil on. So I've made a few of those up already. The scope, got my first decent pull out of it today, so I've just been trying to figure out the best way of actually pouring the resin in, getting all the air bubbles out as much as possible. The first one I poured, literally got 3/4 of the scope come out. The top quarter just stayed as an air bubble, but I managed to get this one out today, so I'm getting better at the actual knowing of the mould, if that makes sense. Its characteristics. But a little bit of flash in there, but as usual with resin kits, there's always a little bit of sanding for air bubbles or a little bit of flashing. It's got the holes there for pins to go into the main blaster to mount it. Had to sacrifice the end piece, so it's actually slotted. We easily do that with a hacksaw and a needle file. Just got to chop it off to the right length. So I'm going to make a few more of these up while I'm working on the moulds for the main blaster. The other blaster I've got, which I'm actually using for moulding the main body, I've got the actual plastic grips, trigger, the top section and the end cap. Although the end cap doesn't have the threaded section, it's literally just flat. So that's why I've got to mould that up. And I've got two of the breeches, one with the barrel still attached and the other one I've chopped it off. So I'm still debating about best way of moulding it to get as much detail as possible. So at least that gives me two options. I was thinking what I could do, if I make a mould halfway down the barrel, going all the way to the back, then when I go to cast it, if I get some aluminium, the right diameter, same as the barrel, with a like a mortar tenon on the end, another bit of tubing. If I lay it in so it butts up to where it would, and the tenon coming up to about there, when I pour the resin it would seal around it, and hopefully that would work. But I'm just toying with different ideas for either that or just moulding up to that section, so no barrel on it, and then just moulding it, casting it, then drilling and getting the aluminium barrel sorted after. So decisions, but I'm very happy with how this has come out. Like I said, I'm still debating about the weathering on it. Haven't filled in any of the screw holes, just so I can take it apart in the future if I need to, for any other moulding, etc. But yeah, no, very happy with this one. one more for the collection. Like I said, hopefully I'll have a little resin run done soon. But yeah, I do post videos up here and there, not as often as I'd like, as I've got a full-time job, so this is just a little hobby. If you could like and subscribe to my channel, I'll keep you posted on any other blasters I'm working on. The next one will be a General Grievous blaster. It's going to be all metal. I make all my blasters out of metal. I used to do them out of resin, but it's nothing like the feel of metal. So that's where I'm going to go. So yeah, that'll be the DT-57, I think it is. That's going to be quite a big blaster. But yeah, please like and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you soon.